beautiful people. Welcome to yet another episode of the Younib Breakfast Show with me, Penina Wachera. How have you guys woken up? I hope you guys have woken up well and are excited to face this day. I hope you've also said your morning affirmation so that you can be able to have a very productive and positive vibe day. So today's conversation is really exciting and I look forward to have an interesting interaction with you guys. So remember, you can always interact with us through our social media platform, Younib_TV on Instagram, Younib Media TV on Facebook, and there's a number on your screen. You can SMS or WhatsApp 0719 144 144. As it is the norm here at the Younib Breakfast Show, let's go straight to the morning bite of the day. Guys, today we'll be speaking about anger and anger management. It is said that an angry man is a hungry man. We don't know whether it's true, but our psychologist here will tell us whether this saying is true or not. Remember, this show is proudly brought to you by Miss Yo Ashan and Younib organization, and we are trying to reach out to our community to help you guys with issues about your mental health. So if you have any problems when it comes to your mental health, if you see that you have the symptoms that we've been mentioning here, it's good for you to call them or reach them out through the number 0700 352 250, and they will be able to help you concerning your problems. Ndiwa, having done that, I want to welcome my guest of the day. Yeah, these faces are familiar to all of you. They are our psychologists here. They offer the best top-notch psychological help for you guys. So to start the conversation, I'd like to introduce you guys to the psychologist. We'll start with Mutembei Muthami, who is in the farthest left. We have Valentine, Ndiwa, and also we have Beula and Njagi. These are our psychologists here, and they've been giving us information when it comes to mental health. So karibuni sana.
Thank
you.
you.
Feel at home already, you're at home, guys. Anyway, so I hope you guys are feeling good about this morning.
Yeah.
Are you excited?
Yes, definitely.
We are. I am.
Yeah. You are. Okay, so let's start the conversation of the day. So as I said, we're speaking about anger and anger management. So what is anger?
Anger it's an emotion that all of us usually feel. It's normal to be angry, and it's a secondary emotion that mostly it has to be caused by something. And many people see it as a negative emotion because they don't tend to think that in some cases it can be a positive way of expressing your emotions. So anger usually occurs if an individual is feeling frustrated or there is something that another person has done that they don't like. So it makes that person to be angry. So anger is an emotion that doesn't come just on its own. There has to be something that has to cause this emotion, and that's why there is an iceberg of anger. So if you look down, this somebody is expressing that rage or that fury. Why? Because of underlying factors such as the ones that I've mentioned, the frustration. It could be that somebody is sad, somebody is feeling lonely. All of us usually have a reason that causes us to be angry. Yeah.
When I was introducing the topic, I said an angry man is a hungry man. Do you guys think this saying is true? And why is it true?
I think it's true the other way around. Mm-hmm. A hungry man is an angry man. Because when we look at, we're always talking about how we're not compartmentalized. So what happens in our physiological or our physical body affects what's happening in our mind, affects what's happening in our spirituality. So when we have not slept well, when we've not eaten, you tend to notice that moods change, and often it shifts to anger. As Valentine has said, anger is a secondary emotion. So it's sometimes a mask of other emotions. So instead of just understanding that I am hungry, I could just get irritated and then anza kuwaka with everyone, when really a cup of tea would calm me down. Yeah.
Okay, so now we know it's a true saying. It's all true, Sindio. So I want us, because you've already started telling us about the triggers. So let's go straight to triggers. What are some of the triggers of anger in an individual?
Well, some of the triggers have actually been discussed. Valentine has talked about sadness. She's talked about loneliness and frustration. Beula has also talked about hunger, and it's basically what we're trying to put across is that it could be really anything. It could be a bee sting. It could be somebody stepped on your shoe. Anything that evokes certain emotions in you, and then if you're not capable of dealing with that effectively, it could lead to pent up anger. So you find that, let's say you woke up in the morning, you couldn't find your favorite sock, did you? So you're frustrated, and then somebody comes and steps on your shoe. Then you're like, now I don't have my favorite t-shirt, and then now you've stepped on my shoe. So now it triggers certain emotions within you, and then maybe because you are going to react to the situation, maybe you just get angry on the spot. But talking about the triggers, it could really be anything. Some are very small, some are very huge, but at the bottom line is anything that makes you feel uncomfortable and anything that makes you feel like it should not have happened.
Oh, okay, so what are or how does anger really affect when it comes to the physical being of an individual and also the mental health?
Okay, anger is something that usually affects us in terms of how our mental state is and even how our physiological well-being is. Just as Beula said, that we are sort of like a unit. Our bodies, our mental health, and our spiritual health are connected. And if there is one emotion that is not taken care of properly, you might find that even the other aspect of the physiological and even our spiritual aspect would be affected. So on the physical side, you'll find that somebody who tends to be angry, then they may tend to experience things such as headaches, because your body is not at a relaxed state. You are in this, it's called the fight or fright response. It means that you don't have that ability to relax. And if you don't have that ability to relax, it means that even your mental state is affected. Things such as sleep, you are not able to sleep, so you end up experiencing things such as insomnia. And now when it comes to your psychological well-being, since we've said that you're not able to relax because of the anger, you find that you become this person who is very anxious, and in the end you might develop mental health conditions such as depression. So it tends to affect our physiological, our spiritual, and even how we interact with other people, because maybe you might find that you're this person who gets annoyed very fast, and you don't want to go and cause other people to feel bad, or you don't want to engage in violence, as we'll see some of the negative effects of anger. You find that you tend to isolate yourself. And when you isolate yourself, you tend to be this person who is lonely. And what happens when you're lonely? You'll find that depression will set in. Yeah.
So anger is an emotion that affects most of us, and it not only affects your physical, also your spiritual and your emotional. So it also affects your physical, mental, and spiritual health. So I want us to take this short break, and we'll be back with more information when it comes to anger and anger management. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is still the Younib Breakfast Show with me, Penina Wachera, and my lovely psychologist here. And we are discussing matters about anger and anger management. Before the break, we have spoken about the triggers that make us angry and also what anger is. So coming back to the conversation, I'd like to know whether there is unhealthy and healthy anger, and if there are, how can people or what are the expressions of this healthy and unhealthy anger?
Okay, good question. And I'd like to start by, just emphasizing on what Valentine started by saying, that anger is a normal emotion. It's part of the human experience. So anger in itself is not a bad thing because, as she described, it's a secondary emotion, which means it's most likely serving as an indicator of underlying things, as she explained. Yeah. So it could be that the anger is expressing that I feel like my boundaries have been violated. I feel like I'm being disrespected. Perhaps I feel shame, or I feel lonely, or I feel sad, whatever it is. That now, because when we call it a secondary emotion, it means that it's easier to express these vulnerable ones as anger, as opposed to saying I feel shame, or I feel disrespected, or I feel like you have violated my boundaries. So going straight to anger, it kind of, for the brain, it's kind of easier to communicate or express it. And so when we talk about expressions of anger, having understood that it's an indicator of something that's going on inside, then what we want to do is to make sure that we are not adding more fire to what is already fire. Yeah. So I think I would describe unhealthy expressions of anger as something that would either harm the person, or cause harm to someone else, or cause harm to property. So that involves, beating someone, kutusi watu, harming yourself, because there are people who go into self-harm, either banging your head or banging your fists against the wall, or breaking all your mother's plates and glasses. So anything that causes harm to someone else, to yourself, or causes harm to property, then we would consider it an unhealthy expression of anger. Yeah, so perhaps my colleague would, tell us more about healthy ways to express this anger.
Okay, so you've put it well, like how somebody usually expresses anger in an unhealthy manner. For me, I would say, like, there are some healthy ways in which you can express that anger. But the first thing, just like Beula said, is to acknowledge that this emotion, it's a normal emotion, and it's okay to be angry. There is no human being on this planet that doesn't get angry. We all get angry. Like Mutembei has told us that there are so many things that can make us to be angry. Even the weather itself, if it just starts raining, that can trigger you to become angry. So how are you going to express that emotion? So there are those people who, if they notice that they are becoming angry, they will tend to go and do like a sporting exercise. When you go and do sports, you'll find that your body will produce the endorphin hormones, which will make you feel good eventually. And also, if you're feeling angry, it's good to look for your friend. And then now, when you get to your friend, this is a person whom you trust, you talk about the emotions that you as a person you're feeling. In the society that we are living these days, you find that we are only taught of positive things, and everybody these days is talking about positivity. So it's making us see life like life is just a straight line, but it's never a straight line. And that's why I say the first thing is to acknowledge that this is a normal emotion. Then the other thing is to ask yourself, what is this that is causing or is making me angry? Then from your thought, you'll be able to know. And then now you'll start planning the strategies of how to solve that anger. And communication is very, very important. And that's why I've said that you should go and look for a friend, as this somebody whom you trust, and talk to this person about the emotion that you are experiencing at that particular time. So if you find that you're becoming too angry, you can either go and play football. By the end of that, you'll find that anger has gone. So there are certain defense mechanisms that we usually use to cater for certain things that are causing harm to our body. And going for sports or listening to music, it will easily help you to express that anger in a positive way.
Wow, I feel you've given us some of the techniques, right,
Yeah.
of managing anger. Are there any other positive techniques that an individual can use or can do so that they can be able to release or maybe release anger at that specific moment?
Okay, at that specific moment, especially for the adults, you can try and breathe. Yes, the breathing exercise. Remember this at this time, like I had mentioned, your body is on a fight or flight response. So at that time, you as a person, maybe if you experience anger, you might find that your heart is raising so much, and your body needs to relax so that you end up making a rational decision. So you can try the breathing in and breathing out technique. Then the other thing is to visualize, have a mental picture of very nice sceneries or beautiful places. So these are the things that we create in our heads. And then the other thing, you can try cognitive restructuring. Like there, you go inside your mind and try and assess what are the things that are making me to be angry, and then now start challenging those thoughts to start thinking of positive things. And then as you're thinking of the positive things, you'll find that anger would have calmed down. For example, if somebody stopped on your toe, normally if you're this person who is very aggressive, you find that maybe you might slap that person. But then now maybe you start thinking of, okay, what are the consequences of slapping this person? Or in my mind, I feel like slapping this person, but what would happen if I don't slap this person? So as you are doing that in your mind, you might find that even your body itself is calming down. Yeah.
Valentine has mentioned about anger management or techniques of how we can be able to manage anger for mostly adults. Are there for kids, and what can kids do to be able to avoid anger?
With kids, it's very easy because they're still young, they're still developing, so it's very easy to distract the kids. Let's say the kid is really angry that something maybe they were promised a lollipop, but then there's no lollipop, so they get very angry. So you could just ask them to pretend that pretend that they're blowing out a candle. Well, with kids, it's very easy to get them out of the angry space because they're still developing. It's very easy to distract kids. So maybe if they are very angry, you could, like, let's say, engage them in an activity that takes them away from the space that was making them angry. This means, let's say, they're angry because something has happened at home. So you could ask them, oh, let's take a walk, or let's go somewhere else, because just by the excitement of, oh, tunaenda mahali, you'll find that you're already distracting them from their anger. But it's also very important to make sure to affirm to the kids that anger is also okay. It's very okay to talk about to be angry, and it's okay to talk about what's making you angry. This means that they get to deal with their anger, but they also get to understand that by talking about your emotions, you also distract yourself from the emotion itself, and then you get to uncover what is making you angry. But generally, anything that takes the kids away from the anger is really, really good.
I think now we are well versed, or we know how now to be able to handle anger at that moment for either kids, for ourselves, for our friends. Like now we know once I am angry because of somebody has stepped on my toe or my shoes, I can be able to easily make that anger become just a bygone, right? So remember, you can always interact with us through our social media platform, Younib_TV on Instagram, Younib Media TV on Facebook, and there's a number on your screen. You can SMS or WhatsApp 0719 144 144. Let's take this short break and we'll be back with more. Welcome back. This is still the Younib Breakfast Show, and today we're speaking about anger and anger management. And before the break, we were speaking about techniques where we can be able to face anger or also manage anger, right? So right now, I would like us to know more about how mindfulness or meditation really helps when it comes to anger management.
Okay, I would say meditation really plays a very important role when it comes to managing anger. Remember, we've said that when somebody is angry, their body is not at a relaxed state. So with mindfulness, mindfulness involves you being aware of what is happening, especially in your mind or even in your body and even around your environment. And then also meditation is what will take you through all that process. So meditation is very important when it comes to helping you as an individual come to that relaxed state. So there are different types of meditations which a person can involve with when maybe they are experiencing anger. And an example actually given it, I'd previously given when I talked about you visualizing or imagining that you are in this beautiful and serene place. If you shift your mind towards that, our thoughts affect our emotions or other our feelings. So you find that if you are at that state of anger and then now you start thinking of a beautiful scenery, let me use an example of you're just there in the ocean and maybe the water is just moving around, or you are walking on the seashore. Your mind shifts from the current emotion that you are feeling, and then now you start imagining that you are in the ocean, and then now at the ocean there are certain emotions that somebody usually feel at that time. You feel that you are in that relaxed state, or you feel that you are peaceful, or rather you feel that you are happy. So meditation and even mindfulness it plays a very important role when it comes to managing or controlling your anger. Yeah.
So meditation is key when it comes to anger management. Also, we did a show on self-awareness, and do you guys think that self-awareness or self-reflection really plays a role when it comes to anger management?
Absolutely, yeah. Because I mean, there are people who we've probably encountered these people who are always angry. Like kuna mtu najanga anakwanga tu amejam. Hata before mu approach, you need to have your things in order because they might just react in certain ways. And sometimes you may find that this person doesn't take the time to be in tune with themselves. And so when we talk about self-awareness, it's not a big distance idea. It's just really knowing yourself and taking that now bite size too in this moment. So when we talk about self-awareness and its relationship to learning how to regulate anger, one of the exercises that I really like to encourage people is to learn to name what you're feeling and name how your body is experiencing that feeling, because that's self-awareness. It's being aware of what am I feeling. Ninja, nasikia, is that why I'm irritable? Is it because what the person did, especially in relationships? You notice when there's anger, when there's conflict, it's for example, partner A has expressed a need or a want, and partner B may think about it as sitoshi, I'm not enough, or I am not competent in 1, 2, 3 things. So they arise in anger out of that fear of, what does this other person think of me? They arise in anger out of fear of, does this mean they don't love me anymore? Does this mean they don't think as highly of me anymore? So if we're able to take the time to sit with, what am I feeling? What is this anger trying to say? Is it actually sadness? Is it actually fear? Is it actually frustration? Is it actually that my boundaries have been crossed? Nini na kosi fear? Is this anger? And then how is my body experiencing that anger? Because everyone experiences anger differently. And I think I feel like throwing that around, the room. Like for me, I notice when I am angry, my fists will just start clenching. Because Val has talked about it as a fight or flight response. So when when your muscles are tensing, it means you're you're ready. And everyone would have a different experience. People would say it's in my head, kuna ka headache kana kujanga, or my chest starts to feel heavy, or my heart starts. So what is your body feeling? And then once you've been able to identify that, then it becomes easy to think about, okay, so what do I need to first calm down this feeling? Then I can attend to what's making me angry. So if I notice I am clenched, I could try maybe breathe and relax my muscles, clench them intentionally and release to just help my body come back down. If I notice it's that there's that headache or that my heart is beating very fast, I could try just slowing down my breathing fast. So it goes to all that means I have to be aware of my body, of my thoughts, of my emotions, so that I know what I need in that moment. Then it helps me to regulate. And then I can come back and say, hey, Pesh, when you told me this, it made me feel this way. And by then it'll jam. Please, next time, if you want to communicate this, do it in a different way. Yeah.
So feel or name the feeling that you're feeling at that particular moment, right?
Yeah.
So yes. Consequences. I want us to go now to consequences. What are the consequences that stem from unsuppressed anger or suppressed anger, so not unsuppressed. So what are the consequences that stem out of suppressed anger?
We've talked about the harm. We talked about harm to others, harm to yourself, and harm to property. So as part of consequences, if you're not resolving your anger, you'd find that either you're harming yourself, you've slapped somebody that is hurting others, or you've damaged property. And then because of these unregulated emotions, you'll find that now your social interactions, they're also suffering. You'll find that people will avoid you because they've named you as the always angry person. So you'll find that whenever you get angry, or whenever you're around people, they are usually on edge because they're sort of like expecting you to blow up and lash out at any moment. So you'll find that your social interactions, either people are going to withdraw from you, or you're going to withdraw from the people, because you feel like there's a push and pull, because we're all social beings, and then maybe sometimes anger stems from those social interactions. So you'll find that if you're not resolving your anger, next time you meet the same person who maybe angered you, the anger is going to come back to you. So you're going to either lash out at them, or you're going to totally avoid them. And then if you keep doing this, you'll find that at one point you'll have to sever that tie. So let's say, for example, Caro has made me quite angry, and then because I don't want to deal with that situation at that time, Valentine and then because I don't want to deal with that situation at that time, you find that we are not going to resolve that anger. We're not going to resolve that conflict. So the next time I meet Caro, I'm still going to be beefing with her, and then maybe from her end, because I did not communicate, she'll be like, this guy is just akona attitude tu, ama let's say nimembo ama ataki stories zangu. So you'll find that with time, my relationship with her is going to be very, very ish. It's like, leo we are on an okay mood, tomorrow we are not doing okay. So you'll find that with unresolved anger, you'll find that your social interactions are going to suffer. You're either going to harm yourself, you're going to harm others, or you're going to damage property.
So are there any health consequences?
Yes. When we're talking about harm to self, it starts with the things you're doing to yourself. So we've talked about, physical forms of self-harm. There are people who also turn to various substances to help themselves feel less angry or to help themselves feel calm. And of course, when we in here stories are alcohol and substances, they have their side effects, they have their consequences, especially if there's long-term use. And I think Valentine also mentioned that, there are those ones who will begin to get very frequent headaches or migraines. And what she was explaining is that your body is in a very tense state. And so with that, it's the same process as if you were stressed, where your body is constantly producing cortisol. And what that happens is when there's high levels of cortisol, there's a correlation with heart-related disorders or illnesses. There's issues with ulcers, there's issues with high blood pressure, hypertension, all these illnesses that we relate to high stress levels are the same thing that would be meeting when we're not able to manage our anger, because it's something that is stressing the body, something that's stressing the system. Yeah.
Okay, so now we've gotten to understand all about anger and anger management. We've also been told of techniques that we can use, because anger, we've been told, it's a normal emotion for every human being. Adi watoto, they can easily get angry, but through these techniques that we've been enlightened on here, we can be able to use them and ensure that we can easily manage our anger, right? So thank you so much for empowering us and also giving us the information that we require to be able to face our anger and to be able to know now the best ways we can be able to manage our anger. Instead of using the unhealthy ways, we can now adopt to the healthy ways. So asanteni sana for always coming in, for giving us information, and for always teaching us great things about our mental well-being, right? So for everyone who has made this show a success, thank you so much to our camera person, Dante. We also have our timekeeper today, who has been Daisy, and we have Elias, who has been our director. Thank you so much for making this show a success. To every viewer out there, thank you for listening, and I hope that whatever we've learned here will be able to put into practice, because that is what we expect from each and every one of us, right? Even them, even myself, we are here to learn so that we can be able to improve ourselves and be able to make better decisions when it comes to our mental health, and through this we become better people. So thank you so much for watching the Younib Breakfast Show. I've been your host, Penina Wachera. Until next time, do have a beautiful day ahead. Goodbye.